Hi, this is Lance Snow with Get Out Together. Today's episode is brought to you by VenturePacks.com. VenturePacks is the place to go to share your ventures, view other people's ventures, and connect with other adventurous people in the community. That's VenturePacks.com. Also, just a quick reminder that the new year is literally right around the corner, and we are kicking off our New Year, New You Challenge. My friend Kate Schmida and I are putting together, co-creating a challenge group so that you can join up and get in shape right before the weather breaks here in the spring. So let's exercise those winter blues away, and I'm looking forward to it. My wife and I are going to do it, and we invite you to join. So if you want more information, please reach out to me. It's not too late to get signed up. You may have to rush order your materials, but reach out to us and we'll give you those details. All right, so today's episode is with Kevin Smith. He is the master of Shoeology from Elite Runners and Walkers in Robinson Township, Pennsylvania. I sit down with him, get out your pen and paper, because you're going to learn a lot more about fitting shoes and the right kind of shoes and shoe selection than you ever thought you would. And it's very informative. So, hey, what a great interview to get ready to go into New Year with, so that we can learn all about some great things around the sport of running and walking. So if you want to get in shape for something, listen to this interview and you're going to learn something. All right, here's the show. Hi, this is Lance Snow with Get Out Together. Today, I'm in Robinson Township, Pennsylvania. I'm at Elite Runners and Walkers, and I'm here with Kevin Smith, the master of Shoeology. Welcome, Kevin. How are you doing today?
Good to see you.
So, Kevin, the reason I wanted to bring you on is I understand you've been doing this a while. So, Elite Runners and Walkers has been around for quite a long time, and we'll get into a little bit of how you started the business. And I know you've been a runner for quite a long time, too. So, today's show is going to focus mainly on running, right? So
Correct.
We're going to talk about running and why it's such a great sport. Maybe even why it's been growing so much. I know just in the time I've been running, it has grown leaps and bounds. And I think a lot of it has to do with the exposure that stores like Elite Runners and Walkers and people like yourself putting together races and programs for runners. I think that has a lot to do with it. So first I want to start by asking you, why running? Why'd you start running? It was about 19 years ago you started?
Yeah, I wouldn't quote say I'm a really good runner. I ran because I had to. I played hockey. It was a way to stay in shape in the off season. And then when I got to college, playing and living in a fraternity and playing every sport imaginable, it was a way to stay in shape. Not every sport gives you the endurance that you need while you're playing the sport.
Yeah.
Running does that, and it's easy to do. Anybody can do it.
Yeah.
And so, being a 225-pound to 240-pound defenseman playing hockey, I needed something else to keep me in shape when I got out of college. And then I really got back into it in a big way when I, about 16 years ago, my younger brother died from leukemia, and my sister and I decided to run a marathon for the Leukemia Society's team in training. And it was about the same time I was going through one of those corporate culture shocks where I need to get out of the corporate culture and go out on my own. And I ran the marathon, and I was really disappointed with the way my feet felt and the shoes that I was fit with. The person who fit me really kind of just looked at me and said, "Oh, big fat guy, he needs the Brooks Beast." and actually that's the opposite of my foot, and it tore my foot apart. And I got out and I'm like, I remember these stores that I used to shop at when I was in college playing hockey. And so I went down and visited a couple of those, and it was about the same time my father-in-law had gotten into running. And he had really transformed his body from being like 320 pounds down to 160 pounds.
Wow.
Over a couple of years. And I thought, there's something
Amazing.
to this.
Yeah.
So I did a little investigation, and there really was not a running store in Pittsburgh. There was nothing specialized focused on running. So I took my life savings and threw it into the business. And here I am 15 years later.
Well, it sounds like that was a good investment because now you have two stores, right?
We have two stores, correct. We've got one here in Robinson and one in Monroeville.
So, and also, you do a lot of race production too.
Well, part of my mission of the company was to give back to the community, and so right from the start, I've always been all about the charities, almost to a detrimental effect to my personal income, according to my wife. But that's how the store started, was working for the Leukemia Society with Team in Training, and it has not changed since then. Every one of my races that we do has some charity component. The big focus is always youth. It's very important to me. So at every race, we give back a portion of the proceeds to the youth groups that come and support the race. But then most of the time, we have a charity that the majority of the proceeds go to, with our biggest race being Just a Short Run in March, that the majority of the proceeds go to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
Yeah, I've run that race. It's not just a short run. It's a half marathon is the main.
Correct.
Main
and now actually the 30K has become almost as big as the half at that race because of the Pittsburgh Marathon.
Yeah, wow. That's a great training race because you time it in conjunction with the Pittsburgh Marathon.
Correct.
So it's very nice. So how many races do you have typically?
We have 6 major events, being 500 to 2,500. 2,500 being Just a Short Run. And then we produce 10 small trail races in Settler's Cabin during the summer. We call them they're more like the recession runs, is how they started 2 years ago during the middle of the recession.
Okay.
They're really cheap, $10. You show up, get a race. We do drinks and food afterwards, just for fun, and that's how we get rid of all our old race shirts.
Oh, there you go.
So we take all the leftovers, and you get $10. You get a race, a shirt, and food and drinks.
You can't beat that deal.
No, it's pretty economical.
Is it named a specific series, or is it?
This summer we called it the what do we call it? We change the name each year. First year was the recession runs. Second year was the hump day runs. I think this year we just called it the outdoor series.
Okay, gotcha. And are they on real trail? Like, are they trail?
Oh yeah,
paved trail?
Oh no, it's you've got maybe two quick road crossings. The rest of it is all in the woods, rocks, roots, going down hillsides that billy goats don't go down. So it's actually a nice challenge. It's a change of pace for a lot of runners.
I was just going to say, I think most people, when they think of running, they think of you're going long hours on a road, which is not always true. You can find there's plenty of trails. There's billy goat trails, like you just mentioned. There's also just some more open dirt trails.
Oh yeah, the Montour Trail system is now 43 miles completed.
That's amazing. Yeah, so so there's no lack of surfaces to train on. If you're not a road guy or gal, you can certainly go out into the woods and find some nice trails.
And actually, you should change up the surface because your body needs changes.
Yeah.
The people who get hurt most often are the people who run at the exact same pace, the exact same route every single day. And then you get those repetitive stress injuries.
That has been me in a few years.
A lot of the runners who change their stuff up, it's they might run on hard surface all the time, but they're doing speed workouts, they're doing tempo runs, they're doing long, slow runs. You've got to change your body. Your body is designed to adapt, and you need to cross-train. Cross-training is just changing up your workout and routine.
Yeah, I've learned a lot of that the hard way. I didn't realize, though, that you could still run on the hard surface and then switch up what you're doing on the hard surface, like sprints or or maybe even hill climbing or whatever.
That's actually a big key. That's a key component of the training groups that we do.
That's great.
In addition to all the races, we also do training programs here at the store. We kick off actually this weekend, the 15th of December.
To start training for
Pittsburgh, just a short run, the Pittsburgh half, full, and we'll also do a 5K, 10K program that starts in January. And that we have certified USA track and field coaches. I think we've got 5 certified coaches on our staff.
Wow.
And then what we do is we do speed workouts and strength training stuff on Wednesdays or Tuesdays, and then Saturdays is always our long run.
Great. So in terms of so people trying to get started, they obviously have a wealth of opportunity going to their local specialty running store. So not everyone watching is going to be in Pittsburgh. If you are in Pittsburgh, check out Elite Runners and Walkers if you're starting, or if you want to take your running to the next level. But I'm sure there are some other stores in some other cities that potentially would have programs like this. But it because you are focused on running and walking, and I just feel that and that's one of the reasons I reached out to you. It's just a great place to come for not only to buy shoes or apparel, but also get that knowledge of what you just shared with us, the different surfaces, the different training tempos, and then having certified coaches coming in to put together programs for people. It really helps advocate the sport and educate people so that they're doing it the right way and not getting injured like I've experienced so many times.
Correct. One of the big components of our store is, and I try to teach my associates, is that we sell service. You get a great product with it. you can go anywhere and buy most of the stuff that's in my store.
Yeah.
You can buy it cheaper. We even have people who will come in here and unfortunately use our service and then go buy it online, spend $6 in gas, and then save $5 online. But one of the big things that we try to do is we're really an educational hub. We have classes on running form. We have classes on yoga. We do classes on strength training, how to foam roll, how to use the stick, how to get started. We've had nutritionists come in and actually cook meals in the store to teach you, okay, you're a runner, cool. You've got 3 kids, you've got half an hour when you come home to feed the kids and then to get out the door, get your run in, and then get back to the kids' soccer game or hockey game. So she came in to show us how to prepare, how do you do really healthy meals in half an hour. Wow. And she cooked them in the store. We've had some big name speakers. Leslie Bonsi from UPMC Sports Medicine Center has come down and done talks for us. We've brought in, we're bringing in Dick Beardsley, who is one of the greatest American distance runners in our time, and he's coming in for the Spring Thaw in February.
Oh, really? Okay.
New Balance is co-sponsoring it to bring him in for that event.
Wow.
So he's going to be here the 21st and 22nd in the stores. He's going to be at the race all day. So this is your chance to ask a guy who holds one of the, I think, 25 fastest all-time American records in the marathon.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
Well, I mean, and that just goes to show that the programs that you've put together and how, I mean, to have a couple big names come in here like that and be part of your educational process and community, you know, education around running is just huge. I mean, so doing something right?
Yeah, and it's not just about the adults and the distance runners.
Yeah.
We've also brought in, we do a lot of work with the high schools here in the area.
Oh, good.
I'd say, I think last year we estimated that we donated somewhere in the vicinity of about $50,000 or $60,000 to high school programs, either through discounts or sponsoring runners to come in. We work with the California University cross country camp, and we've helped bring in Elva Dreyer, who's an Olympian. This year we helped bring in Chris Linsky for the event. Chris is one of the fastest milers in the country. He unfortunately was hurt for this Olympics, but he'll be back. But it's fun to bring that in and see the light bulb go off in these kids' heads. You know, they're just getting started, and you never know what's going to motivate somebody to get going. Is it their father, their mother, or friend? And then, you know, that's not working. And then the kid hears, wow, you could be an Olympian if you just try hard enough. And then all of a sudden the light bulb goes off and you just see these kids go, that's so cool, I want to do that. And that's the fun part of our store is we get people all the time that have never even walked more than from their house to their mailbox. And we tell them, you know, hey, look, your daughter's running cross country, but you could get, while she's doing that, walk the track. While she's doing it. And then we have people coming back, and now the mom's buying 5 pairs a year and the girl's only buying 2.
That's awesome. So it's a nice segue into shoes. So Master of Shoeology, how important, and this is educational, so this is, and I've learned a lot by coming down here, and I've learned just to kind of go back to some of the training things, I've learned about injury prevention and how to, you know, stretch my plantar fasciitis and, you know, help pay attention, because I'm a little bit heavier for the typical runner. So I've got to watch the repetitive injuries. So with that being said, how important is the shoe?
The shoe is quite important. When you look at the wall and there's 80 different shoes on the wall, that's 80 different foot types that we can fit. You can't look at just the length. You have to look at the length. You have to look at the heel to toe drop. You have to look at the shape of the foot. You know, are you a curved foot or are you a foot that looks like Fred Flintstone? You know, do we need to find a shoe that looks like the shoe box, or are you somebody that has a really curved high arch? You know, there's a lot of misinformation out there on the web. You see a lot of stuff, oh, you have a flat foot, so you need a stability shoe. Well, that's not true. We have people that come in here that have flat feet that are as stable and as straight up as someone with a high arch. And then you've got some people who, when they're standing there, they do that wet shoe test or the wet paper towel test that some of the sites advocate. They have a high arch, but they take one step, put weight on it, and their arch collapses to the ground. It looks like those people that, you know, that can't ice skate, that their ankles are leaning on the ice. And we see that with runners. And you have to be able to put all that together with the stability functions of the shoe. But it's more than just that. When we're assessing somebody for shoes, if you do that in just its little microcosm of just fitting a shoe, I can get somebody a good fit, but you have to look at the entire person. You have to look, do they have muscle weaknesses at the knees, the hips, Are they rotating their upper body? Because whatever their upper body does, their lower body has to counteract to keep a straight line. So I can put somebody in a great shoe, but if their shoulders are doing this the entire time they're running, they're going to force themselves to roll more. I have to compensate for that even more with the shoe. Or, better yet, is educate them on how to run properly. There's no perfect form, but there are some tips that everybody should follow to maintain their muscles. I've seen Olympians, actually this past marathon, the woman who won the Olympics, her form was horrible. We watched that one. And despite that, she won the marathon. So you can run despite yourself. We've got some of the runners in this area, some of the top runners, their form is horrendous. But if you look at their form, yes, it looks like they're flailing, but if you look at some of the main components of their body, they still hit 4 of the main points of running. Gotcha. Which is they actually have pretty good posture, their turnover is very quick, you know, they're maintaining their head up, and they're keeping their body in a straight line. They're not all over the place.
Wow.
So despite maybe some arms filling, their body is staying in a nice straight level. They're very efficient despite looking bad.
Gotcha, that makes sense. So there's a lot to picking out your shoe. You just, hey, if it looks, it's not just about does the size fit me, and even the width and narrowness, and you know, does it look cool? There's a lot more to it. There's just so much mechanical and physiological that goes into it.
Well, being a larger runner myself, I have to look at the density of the shoe. The durometer or density of the foam is a big factor. You know, the average guy is 150 to 180. So if you're starting to go 190, 200, you know, you're a former football player or a former hockey player. You've got some size, and if you wear the same shoe that your 150-pound friend is wearing, and he races a lot, and you're just out there to be happy to be running, you're going to break the shoe down. You're only going to get 300, maybe 300 miles out of it, maybe 200 miles, and he's going to get 500. So you have to look at, there's a number of factors besides just the fit. You have to look at the body type, the surface they're running on, how often they're running. If you're running 30 miles a week and you're running 6 days a week, you need to have 2 to 3 pairs of shoes that you're rotating. Let the shoe bounce back, expand, it reduces injuries. So when somebody comes in, we're almost doing a doctor's interview. We go through the list of, in your case, we went through the list of injuries. Okay, what have you had? Well, okay, you have plantar fasciitis now, you tell me you've had calf things and hamstrings. Well, your issue isn't your foot. Your issue is you're so tight, you're hurting everything else below
it.
So we try to do a training. We're not PTs, we're not doctors, but when you do something for 14 years, you learn a lot. We read a lot, we go through a lot of training with the vendors, we go through a lot of training on our own here at the store to try and keep up with, you know, new injury, you know, some weird injuries that we see. What are some of the new treatments, so we know which doctors to send people to for the quickest recovery.
Wow. It just, I guess it's so important to just pay attention and be aware. Awareness, there you go.
Exactly.
Be aware of, you know, not just any shoe is going to fit what you want to do. And I like how you have a consultative approach to when people come in, asking them the questions to fit them with the right shoe. Because, you know, if I'm not if I'm a 5-minute miler, you know, I'm probably going to wear a different shoe. And I go and run marathons or half marathons, I'm going to wear completely different shoes. If I'm a 12-minute miler and I've had some injuries, I'm a little heavier, and I do only 5Ks, I'm sure that the shoe probably would look a little bit different in some cases. So, well, that's interesting though, and we can certainly, that's some good takeaway. And what's the rule of thumb on mileage for a shoe? Is it like 300 to 500?
What we tell people is 300 to 500, and that's why you should always have 2 pair. So you're rotating them every other day. So it's almost like a light switch goes off. So you find the right shoe, it feels good when you run, and you start running and you track your mileage. And what we tell people is take 1 pair, run in them for about a month, then come back and get the second pair. Make sure that first pair is working, and then rotate them every other day. And because there's a month's difference, when the first shoe starts to go, it's almost like somebody throws a switch, and all of a sudden, wow, my calves are sore, my hand, okay, why is my butt muscle sore? And you realize the shoe has broken down, and when you flip them over, you can see the difference, or you can see the compression in the midsole. And that's the other thing is people who run at treadmills. we get a lot of people, I've had this shoe and all of a sudden I'm hurting. Had somebody yesterday, he came in and like, I'm not sure I want this same shoe again. I'm starting to hurt, this and that. I'm like, well, how long have you been hurting? I've been hurting for about a month and a half. And we looked him up, and he's about my size, so he's about 240, 250 pounds. And he's had the shoe since the beginning of May, and he runs 5 days a week. And the shoe was done 2 months ago.
Yep.
And so he's been running on a shoe that was toast for the last 2 months. So having that second pair in the rotation keeps you from ever getting to that point where you start injuring yourself.
Gotcha.
Because you feel the first pair go.
That makes sense. When you start to feel it, I know I can tell. I can tell when a shoe starts to go. It just feels like you're walking, I don't know, in lead shoes.
Well, and sometimes you can see it. I started to go about treadmills. Sometimes when you run outside, you can see because you start shearing off the bottom of the shoe. But with a treadmill, you're running rubber on rubber. There's not a whole lot of wear, so people come in like, oh, the shoes. Look at the bottom. It's barely worn. But then you look at the midsole, the cushioning material in between, and it's just collapsed.
Yeah. So when you say that, you're looking for creases in your
creases, or if you look at the new shoe versus the old shoe, because a lot of shoes they use control creases. They're called skiving lines. If you ever wanted to know that for trivia, all those pretty lines that are down the side of the shoe, they're actually designed to let the foam compress in an engineered fashion to mimic the motion of the foot. So a lot of times now you don't see the creases in the side of the shoe because it's kind of like cracks in a sidewalk. You want it to go in a certain spot. So what you look for is pick up a new pair of the exact same shoe you have and look at the thickness of the foam versus that. Or a lot of times they're creating these almost like hollowed out sections in the heel, and you'll see the center of your hollowed out section is hitting the ground and the new shoe is still half an inch above.
Wow. So big difference.
Big difference.
Gotcha. Well, that's some great advice. And so wow, we covered shoes, we covered races, we covered education. Boy, there's really no excuse for anyone out there to if they want to start running. It's all there. It's just a matter of getting up and getting out of bed, or getting home from work and getting out and doing it, right?
Well, and that's the beauty of running and walking is you can do it anywhere, anytime. You're traveling. There's no excuse. Just go out and walk around, learn a new city. And now they've got all the cool GPS watches that even if you get lost and you're running in St. Louis and you ran towards the arch and you can't remember which hotel was yours, just you flip on your watch and you turn around and it tells you which streets to turn at and come back. Technology is pretty amazing. iPhones and Androids, you can track. You can get into tracking a lot of the information on your own as far as your mileage and your routes, and you can really start developing some pretty cool data on yourself. So when you come in to see us, you can say, hey Kevin, here's my phone, I've been doing this many miles and this is when I started to feel the injury. It's going back to the guys who we still have a couple guys on our staff that use the handwritten training logs. So actually just had a friend cross 10,000 miles this past week. Wow, that's amazing. They averaged 1,000 miles a year for the last 10 years.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And to be able to not only just do that, but track it too. That's it's a feat.
Well, the phenomenal part about it is he used it as a way to stay healthy. A couple years after we met him through the store, he's been a diabetic most of his life, and so he used that as a way to control his diabetes. But he's had a number of other health injuries, and he has never stopped running. He ran through everything and kept going, and it's actually helped him with his recovery and everything.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, so when I look at running, I feel a couple things. It's easy. No excuses. Even when it's cold outside, you can bundle up. Or you may have access to a treadmill or a gym, but you can always just get outside and bundle up. And usually most people can find a decent place to put a couple miles in. And then, depending on your speed, I know a lot of people, I hate running, and they do it because it's maybe a necessary evil. Maybe they love triathlon, they love swimming and biking, but they're kind of doing, and that's how I got started. Now I love running. But the other nice thing about it is it's a necessary component to so many different sports.
My daughters both play soccer. And my daughter made the comment last night, I'm so out of shape, Dad, and indoor season starts in a couple weeks for the high school team. And I told her, I said, well, you got 2.5, 3 weeks to get out and run, and you can bring your cardiovascular back pretty quick with running. It's the first couple days, if you've taken about 2 or 3 weeks off, the first couple days is going to be hard, but your cardiovascular comes back really quick. But basketball, we have people that come in our store. We've got kids from basketball. Besides the cross country and track, we get basketball, we get hockey, we get soccer. A lot of the endurance sports. A little bit of football players, because there's a number of those guys that they're on the field, especially at the high school level, they're playing both ways.
Yeah.
And if they don't have the endurance, even though they only go for 5-6 seconds at a time, they need to have the endurance to play the entire game. So in the off season, they're running.
Yeah. It's just a great basic sport activity, and it's for anyone, because not only can they do the sports, but you can get out on the trails. So if you don't, like I mentioned before, if you don't like the roads, you can go on the trails. You can go, check out some scenery. Whatever it is, it's just that there's a low barrier to being active and getting out there.
Running can take you so many places. Yeah. There's a runner. He's an ultra guy, and he's running from the bottom of New Zealand to the top of New Zealand.
Wow!
And just because he wants to see if he can do it, no particular reason.
That's amazing.
And I think one of the best things about running is the ability to develop the relationships. Most people get into running, like me. I got into running, I'm trying to stay in shape, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm trying to, this and that. They find a fitness reason to join for the running, or they have a goal. I want to run the marathon. I want to be one of that 1/10 of 1% that says I can finish the marathon. They don't care what time they finish it in, they just want to finish. And hey, there's only about 10 or 15 guys in each marathon that are capable of winning the race. So everybody else is just running for personal glory.
That's right.
So, but the best part is the camaraderie that people develop. When you're running and you're going out there and running every day, you start seeing the same faces. Maybe you start out as a solitary runner and you find out, hey, Joe or Jane runs every day. Let's I'm going to start running so I can run with them, because running by myself for 3 hours just isn't that much fun. So you get a lot of the social aspect of it. Our training group, we've got a core of probably 30 or 40 people that have trained with us every single season.
Wow.
And they are now bringing other friends into the group.
That's amazing.
And it's because they go out now, not even anything around running. They call each other up and they go out for fun. And so there's some tremendous friendships that have developed because of the running together for hours.
That's great. And that kind of brings it full circle to one of the things I advocate. It's not only the activity and getting out and being active, but getting out together and just doing it with someone else, just connecting with people. That's how, my wife and I, when we were dating, we didn't do the typical movie and dinner. we did, but we also did a lot of running and triathlon and mountain biking and just all those active outdoor things. And our 2 years after we were married, for our second anniversary, we found ourselves doing the Flying Pig Marathon in Cincinnati together, and we did it slow. We were one of those
for an
people
anniversary.
Yeah, it just happened to be on our anniversary. It was just so much fun. And we took a camera with us, and we wanted to finish, cross the finish line together, and we had a great time. We saw some great aspects of Cincinnati that we normally wouldn't have. Most people don't think of Cincinnati as an awesome city, but now I do, because I did this marathon with her, and we just had a blast. So that's one of our most fun things we've done together. So I love the camaraderie aspect of it. And for a while there, I was running with a group downtown, and I just started seeing these people at these races, and I found this group, and personally, what you said, it's the camaraderie and just the ability to get out there and do something with other people, and it's great. So just to wrap it up, I'll just give you a couple minutes. Tell us about. We've already talked a lot about elite runners and walkers, but let's wrap it up by go ahead and plug the store.
Sure.
Or anything you want.
Well, Elite Runners and Walkers, we've got 2 locations, one in Robinson Township here in Shoeology Plaza. It's about a mile down the street from the mall. Our second location is in Monroeville. That one is actually conveniently located inside of the Pro Bike store in front of Miracle Mile Shopping Center. It's a real nice mix, so we can take care of the runners, and then the bike shop takes care of the cyclists, and then together we take care of the triathletes.
Yeah.
And so it's a really good mix for this area's triathlons group. But coming up next on our agenda is one of our most fun races as far as uniqueness. It's called the Frigid 5-Miler on January 13th. It's a Sunday morning. It is a 5-mile run. We do a pancake breakfast after it, but it is it is very aptly named. The race, we've only had 1 year above 15 degrees. We average 500 people for the race. Some of the coldest days one of our coldest days was 3 years ago, was -12 at the start of the race, and and we had almost 450 people sign up for the race.
Oh my.
And despite the cold weather, we had 180 people, almost 120 people showed up that morning.
Oh, nice. That's
So it's pretty crazy. We do, on average, we have about a race a month during the year, and we usually offer distances, everything from a 5K to a 30K. We try to have something fun for everybody at all levels, and we're one of the only groups that does training races geared towards the Pittsburgh Marathon. And all of our races are kind of spread out exactly in your progression up to the marathon. So if you're looking to train on your own, you can do the races and use those as benchmarks, or you can join our training program, which kicks off this Saturday, the 15th. We'll meet down at the Birmingham Bridge, and we do runs all over the city.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us today. I certainly appreciate it. I'll definitely link everything up you just mentioned in the show notes too, so that people watching can just click on and click through and find all the information you just talked about. And thank you for sitting down with me. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.